No.
All right, we do now. Are you kidding me? All right.
Well, shit. I like the thumbnail.
Thanks.
Okay.
Okay, I
Well,
was just wanting to see. All right, well, we're only 18 minutes into it, so
I was gonna say, you
let's keep
guys,
going.
if
It should
you're
play
just,
back, shouldn't it?
yeah, if you're, well, but we didn't have audio.
Oh, goddamn. Let's restart it.
Okay, yeah, that's a good idea. Then we can just delete that piece of shit.
I'm not sure how that works, if it goes back to the same one or not.
It should start a new one.
That's kind of what I'm hoping. All right.
That's okay, because we kind of got off on a little bit of a tangent anyway.
No, it definitely did not start a new one.
Oh. Well, we have audio now, so
Yeah.
if you're watching the replay of this, just skip the first 18 minutes.
Yeah, we'll I don't know. We might just take this one down and chop it up completely.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea.
And then actually just skip it 18 minutes forward and then just re-upload it.
Yeah, that's what we'll do.
Okay.
When I can download it in a day or two, I'll do that.
All right.
Until then, if you're watching this the day after, just skip the first 18 minutes.
Yeah, Sosa, man, where were you, dog? You commented. You didn't hang around long enough.
Maybe only he could hear us.
No, he couldn't. No one could hear us because I didn't have the freaking audio set up.
No, I'm just being a smartass. Like maybe he could just feel the rage.
Oh. But anyway, so
yeah, Neil Young tried to cancel Joe Rogan and got kicked in the dick.
Yep, and then Spotify sort of almost backtracked, but didn't. They're just gonna put a a warning COVID-19 at the beginning of each episode that mentions COVID-19, and I'm like, COVID-19 comes up in fucking almost any conversation nowadays. So.
Well, so they may have unintentionally stepped on landmine though, because here's the thing: if Spotify has to do it, to me, I think CNN has to do it. Point blank, or anyone on YouTube who's going to talk about COVID-19, regardless of your position.
Yeah, I think all freaking Fox, CNN, all of them.
MSNBC. If Spotify is making Joe Rogan do it, or Spotify in general is making anyone who's talking about it, like.
Well, it's not because they have to. It's because they said they basically said they're getting out in front of it, versus being told by the government, because they even said in the press release that, or whatever it was, the article, they said government doesn't have to tell you what to do. It's about being a good, like, made it sound like being a good person. And I'm like, I don't care.
Okay, but here's why that logic is flawed, because if you actually thought that, you would have done it from the beginning.
That's my point. But the thing is, the average person should be able to listen to whatever they want and decide whether it's true or not, because they can't trust any of the media, you know?
Well, and that's the part that very few people are talking about, at least in the mainstream, because here's the thing. You know why people are listening to Joe Rogan when it comes to things like COVID-19? Because they've watched what's happened in the mainstream media and have been told a different story as it progresses. So a lot of people are now like, because I'll be real, Joe Rogan would not be my first authority on something like COVID-19, but
he's had people on.
Well, but correct. But here's the thing: the authorities that I should be able to listen to have proven to be inconsistent at best. So yeah, when Joe Rogan has the guy, or when anybody, it doesn't have to be Joe Rogan, when anybody has the guy who holds the patent on the mRNA vaccine technology, I'm going to listen to what the fuck he has to say. Now, I'm taking everything with a grain of salt because that's what I do.
Speaking of, who has the patent on the mRNA technology?
I forget his name.
Doesn't he own like something? I don't know. Let me double check. Keep going.
He was on Joe Rogan's podcast recently, and what's killing me is the mainstream media. He's talking about how like I have the patents hanging in my office. Like I think he actually uploaded them to that because he got banned off Twitter. I think what's that new one?
Rumble?
No, it's not that one. It's like meter. I can't remember. Anyway,
I don't know.
It's the Twitter alternative.
Oh, Tumblr?
No. It's new.
It's new. Twitter alternative. I think I know what you're talking about. I can't remember what it's called.
But anyway, it's like, but CNN is putting out articles where, like, they're literally saying something to the effect of he claims to have been instrumental in the development. It's like, motherfucker, he has the patent. Like, he helped create the technology. I think I'm going to listen to what the fuck he has to say. It's like, you really going to not take Henry Ford's advice for a Model T? Really?
You can take a good look at a T-bone by sticking your head up a bull's ass, but when you take the Birch's word for it, the Birchers.
The butcher.
I got that right in one try, except for the Bircher. The Butcher.
But
speaking of vaccines, I think it was it UK or they ixnay the 5 to 11-year-old vaccine because they said it's dangerous.
Oh, I don't know about that, but I do know the UK just got rid of their vaccine mandates.
I don't know if they said no. Yeah. UK did get rid of that and mask mandates, but also maybe it wasn't the United Kingdom that said vaccination. Maybe they did. They agreed with it. Another country did away with the 5 to 11-year-old vaccine requirements, and I'm like, man, get that shit out of there anyway. Well, like, kids have a fucking great immune. Most kids have great immune system.
Particularly with this particular virus, but we have to tread carefully, lest we get another YouTube strike.
Dude, yeah, I know, but from my personal experience, me and my wife had COVID, and neither of our kids got it. My son was tested twice within a week's time. So you would think if he would have gotten it, he would have gotten it by then. And he had the flu the entire time. And, he tested positive for flu type A, which is like the worst one. He was pretty sick, but, not.
Well, the flu can hit kids pretty hard, but it's my understanding that COVID-19 in general doesn't hit kids very hard, if at all.
No, it's cousin to the flu.
Yeah, well, I mean, there are various types of coronaviruses and rhinoviruses and all those other types of viruses, giraffe viruses, elephant viruses, lion viruses.
Oh, did you hear about the monkeys?
What monkeys? Which monkeys?
There was like 31 lab monkeys. They were lab monkeys for COVID, and they were trying to do stuff like that, or they're trying to. I'm assuming probably try come up with something. But anyway, so a truck wrecked carrying these monkeys, and a lady went up and pet a monkey in its cage. Yeah, and you know something? Now she has COVID-19 symptoms. Welcome to Resident Evil.
Hey, everybody, you wonder how the AIDS epidemic started? The monkey!
She didn't just touch the monkey. He had a dong. Big one. No, I'm just kidding. That's gross. Don't cancel me.
Actually, a fun fact, gorillas have astronomically short penises compared to the rest of their body.
That's why they're so mad.
I think I heard that joke somewhere. Well, we know why alligators are ornery, and now we know why gorillas is ornery.
Because they got all them teeth and no toothbrush.
Because they got all them muscles in a little wiener.
Oh, man. That's what I think when I go to the gym.
Dude.
Not me. Sorry.
It's like all them steroids done shrank your ding-a-ling.
The funny thing is, it's actually reverse. They shrink your balls. I don't know why I know that, but I've never taken steroids. I promise. I wish I had a fake that like make it big.
Yeah, trust me, I've never taken steroids ever.
Oh boy.
Right. Oh boy.
So sorry guys, I gotta adjust this. I don't have to adjust much. I mean, we're sitting in Cafe Lake. Can you grab me a bottle?
Hey, waitress, I'm thirsty over here.
No, it's above you right there. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, like
other side. Come on, dude. You're gonna knock him off the shelf. Anyway, so old man, look at my life. I'm a lot like you were.
Okay, I'm gonna kind of remember how my rant went because it was pretty good.
I know. I'm trying to recapture that because I started with that.
Well, I was okay. So so one of the reasons this is extremely important. Well, let's go over what actually happened again, because in case people don't know what happened with old Neil Young.
Oh yeah. Old Neil Young. He's not young anymore. It's Neil old.
So Neil Young wanted to start a streaming service, but he's not popular anymore. So he and his publicists are like, how can we get some attention? And they're like, let's go after the guy who has the most popular podcast on planet fucking Earth. Most popular podcast on planet fucking Earth. Ooh. It's like the past is in the future.
It's called delay.
But so Neil Young writes an open letter to Spotify, essentially saying that he can no longer be on a platform that allows people like Joe Rogan to openly and on purpose spread misinformation about COVID-19 and potentially kill people. And Spotify said, okay, bye.
Oh, dude, that was the best part. Spotify's like,
hey, here's the
you want to cancel somebody? No, I cancel you.
But you and I both said, like, almost at the same time, we were like, does he really think he's going to win?
Hey, in Soviet Russia, you didn't. God damn it. Joe Rogan cancels you. There we go. God dang.
Dude, we should start, like, you know how you had Chuck Norris?
Oh, yeah.
Just change it to Joe Rogan. Oh. Joe Rogan doesn't sleep. He waits.
Joe Rogan, when he swims, he doesn't get wet. The water
gets Joe Rogan.
We got to come up with new jokes, though. Dude, those are the best things of the early 2000s into, like, still.
Why?
I don't know, dude. Because, I don't know. Like, they immortalized Chuck Norris more than he already was. You know? I'm just like, can you guys, like, tone it down? But I love the jokes. Like,
hey,
those are my favorite.
But really, real talk. Have you tried elk meat?
I heard it cures COVID. Just kidding.
As long as it's taken ivermectin beforehand. Got to get rid of those worms.
Not the kind from the doctor.
No, the vet shit.
Rural King.
I can afford people medicine, motherfucker.
Dude, that was just insane.
But so in a point that I was
he needs to sue them. This shit's over.
Yeah, he does. Like, at this point, this has gotten fucking ridiculous. He needs to stop letting them get away with it.
It's like the Covington kids and
Rittenhouse?
Yeah, Rittenhouse. Thank you.
Gun boy. Gun boy, sidekick to rifleman.
But yeah, he needs to sue because the longer people
they all need to sue because they're getting away with it.
I tell you what, listen. Tomorrow, if CNN, MSNBC, and fuck it, Fox, all of them, if they just shut down and shut their doors and whatnot, and it was only like not third party, but independent news organizations, you know, like I wouldn't really say Tim Pool's news. Is he news? He tries to report the news, and he just gives his opinion on it, and he says opinion. You know, he doesn't really try to say, oh, this is this. You know, the news tries to report factual evidence, or non-factual evidence is factual. Not all news, but a lot of them. And it's because the anchors have a bias.
Well, and not only that, real news is boring.
That's the problem.
It's dull.
It's like, duh. Why do you think when we were fucking kids we didn't want to watch the news? But nowadays you have 8 and 9-year-olds watching the news constantly, freaking out.
Well, and yeah, and that's another
fear.
huge part of the problem. But it's like you have to, no matter what you watch, because here's the thing: we're both fans of Joe Rogan, the both of us. I love the show, but sometimes and see, Joe doesn't really share his concrete opinion a lot. He asks questions a lot, and sometimes his guests will say something, and I'll be like, I don't know about that, bro.
Yeah, I know, dude.
And he'll usually put them to task.
I was looking at you if you didn't get that.
Yeah, I got that. It was kind of weird. But one of the things I said earlier when we were muted was that like it's pretty obvious to me that people who want to cancel Joe Rogan have never watched his show.
Mm-mm.
They might have seen a clip. They might have seen a clip or two that was reported on CNN and poorly edited. But because if they had, they would know. Like he had Ben Shapiro on once, and he was like, "Really, you wouldn't go to Ruben's wedding?" And he's like, "No, I couldn't go to that wedding." He's like, what about after dinner, out to dinner? He's like, yeah, sure, I'd go out to dinner. He's like, do you realize how that doesn't make any fucking sense?
It was like, yeah, it does, because a wedding.
Well, but my point,
his religion.
Correct.
That's going to a dinner.
That's not my point. My point is that Joe didn't agree with them, and they didn't agree.
No.
They moved on to another topic, but they didn't agree.
The thing is, Joe did not want to get demolished. I'm just telling you that right now. When him and Crowder disagreed, Joe attacked. Remember?
Yeah, and here's the thing.
And that was the dumbest thing ever.
Well, I agree with what Joe was thinking.
Must have not been able to get high that day.
Yeah, but like, I'm in Joe's corner in the idea, but not so much in how he handled that one, because Crowder even says, he's like, hey man, I already said this isn't my hill to die on. Like, I'm not that into it, but Joe is very into it. But just some other examples.
He enjoys it and he uses it, and everything he said was legit. But Crowder literally was saying this is not the hill I want to die on, and he even said that I take it back. He goes, I don't even care.
Well, and I think this was years ago, but I think he even said something to the effect of like, he's like, I have an opinion, but I honestly don't think I know enough about it to really like. That's why it's not my hill to die on, because I just don't really know. And then I was talking about how basically anytime he has Eddie Bravo on, he talks about the flat earth shit. He's like, dude, you can't just say shit. Like, you can't just say shit like it's factual.
I'm not a flat earther, and you obviously know this, but the thing is, the firmament is a fucking fantastic story. And I'm not talking, the firmament is not like a story, but like, just reading about it and, everything about it. It's fascinating. You imagine if we lived in a big fucking glass dome, and it's not really that the earth is flat. It's that the ground is flat and there's a fucking ocean all around us. And I was like, that's have you never heard about that?
Well, I've heard about the dome part.
Well, the dome is meant to keep the water, the ocean out. But once you get past the dome, you don't really get past the dome. You have to go through the earth in order to get out. And like I said, it sounds crazy, but at the same time, it's fascinating. It's like, imagine. What if? That's it's like a fucking nonfiction or
a fiction story.
A fiction, this is true. It's a nonfiction story. It's cool. I love sci-fi. And that's what I take that as. It's sci-fi.
Yeah. Oh, that's all fun and games. But like, here's the thing: if Eddie Bravo talks,
no, I'm just kidding.
What about?
I'll come back to it.
If Eddie Bravo tells me to do something related to jiu-jitsu, I'm gonna do it. In fact, I've done it before. It was pretty cool. But
oh yeah, he's really good.
Oh, he's fantastic. Okay, so fun story, because like, total disclaimer, I am not good at jiu-jitsu. I'm fucking terrible. But I watched a random YouTube video of, it was at Joe's studio, but it was
sorry guys.
I'm trying to remember what it was. One of the Gracies. It wasn't Hoist. It was I can't remember. It was one of the Gracie brothers though, and he's showing him the rubber guard,
Teeth?
No, it's a position in jiu-jitsu. Oh. Well, but here's the thing. So I'd gotten my ass handed to me in my last, like, previous 3 rolling sessions when we were doing groundwork and jiu-jitsu stuff. So I'm like, I see this and I'm like, fuck, I'm flexible enough to do that. Like, I can do that shit. And the next time it was a few weeks later, but the next time I rolled, I used it. And it fucking worked.
Oh.
Like a goddamn charm. So I'm a big fan of the rubber guard, and I thank Eddie Bravo for showing me that.
Bravo.
Bravo, Eddie, bravo. But when it comes to the shape of the earth, we got fucking pictures.
You know the funny thing is about that, though?
Jesus Christ. We got satellites in fucking orbit. You can take a goddamn picture right now. It's a fucking sphere.
There are aliens on the moon.
I've already gone into that. I was wrong, goddammit. I was fucking wrong, okay?
The Earth and the moon rotate at the same...
I did not know that.
I seriously... That is insane that you didn't know that, because, like, you're an intelligent guy.
I never thought about it.
I mean, you never even looked it up or anything? Or?
No, I've never needed to. Until I was impersonating Ben Shapiro and I needed to make Alex Jones look stupid.
All right, look. Forgive Jake, because he was he stopped following anything when it came to astrology when they took away Pluto as a planet.
I'm still mad about it, goddammit.
He was like, we need that water.
Oh, dude, I thought of something hilarious. You know what? You know what they should have done, the people that wanted to keep Pluto a planet?
What?
They should have renamed it into, like, instead of naming it after a Roman god, they should have named it after, like, some deity from, like, an African tribe.
Why? Give it a bigger name?
No, because it'd still be a planet. Because, well, I don't an Egyptian god. Fuck, I don't know. Like, name it Anubis instead of Pluto.
Oh, dude, I was gonna say that. You totally took it.
Oh, Anubis is badass.
I love that name.
But I mean,
I was gonna name my kid that. It was between that and Dean Winchester.
Dean Winchester or Anubis.
No, just kidding. Actually, you know the funny thing is, my wife actually this cracked me up, because I was like, I would never do this, but my wife was like, "You sure you don't want to name him Goku?" I was like, "No." I was like, I love Dragon Ball Z, and
that's a bit much.
I was like, no, because I was like, I don't want him to get beat up in school. I was like, I want a normal name.
How badass would this have been, though? You named your kid Goku, and then he randomly one day meets another kid named Krillin.
Oh, that'd be the shit. But I'd be like, listen. Years down the line, if you meet a kid named Frieza, stay away from him.
Tell Krillin to run.
Dude, could you imagine if one day they really did run into a fucking person named Krillin, and then a person named fucking Frieza or something like that?
What if they just ran into a freezer?
Yeah, it works. Anyway, so back to Joe Rogan.
Oh shit, I was going somewhere. Oh, so, like, I was talking about Eddie Bravo. You know, when they're talking jiu-jitsu, Eddie Bravo knows what the fuck he's talking about. When they're talking about the shape of the planet, Joe tells Eddie to shut the fuck up. And then there was also that episode the liberals would love, the lefties would love this one. He had Candace Owens on, and they started talking about climate change, and she's like, climate change isn't real. And he's like, well, why do you think that? Like, he takes people to task.
She didn't say it wasn't real. She said she doesn't believe in it. I would specify that it's a little different.
See, he took me to task because I misrepresented information. That's what smart people do. Because you're right. She said she didn't believe in it. And he's like, well, why do you say that? And she's like, oh, well, honestly, I don't know that much about it. And he's like, then why do you have an opinion? And, like, and kudos to Joe Rogan. Well, no, but kudos to Joe Rogan, because he didn't let her off the hook. He got her to admit that she doesn't know enough to have an opinion.
Mm-hmm.
They don't talk about that ever.
That's actually funny, because I was going to mention that earlier. Was the thing that got me on to Joe Rogan's podcast was because I'm a pretty big fan of Candace Owens. So, most of her stuff, some of her stuff, I'm just like, ugh, click. you know, because like she's a little repetitive, but she is brilliant. Like, did you? This is outside, but it's not outside. The fuck. Anyway, did you watch the little? What?
They're coming to shut you down again.
You can speak. He's on the.
I'm at home.
I told you. I didn't want to get him sick. Sorry, I got the producers talking to me.
It's okay. It's not the leftist media coming to shut us down again.
Our first
moved
18 minutes of the podcast, I didn't turn on the audio.
So we're just like.
Yeah, no one. I mean, even a dude that we know commented, and he didn't say anything. I'm like,
he probably just thought it was something messed up on his end.
I don't know.
Oh, you know what? That's a good point. He might have thought his audio was fucked up.
All right. Yeah, dude. But no. So the.
What?
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 Oh. Well, you better hope you didn't jump that fence. Sorry, my dog was outside for a long time.
No, Scoob.
He jumped he jumped the fence today into my neighbor's yard. I literally had to coax him over to. Oh, I was like, holy shit, dude! How the hell did Leo get? That's your cat.
That's my cat.
But anyway, where's he at?
He was in the house the whole time.
Oh my gosh. Anyway, so how I got on to Joe Rogan's podcast watching it was because of the clips with Candace Owens and Ben Shapiro. And well, maybe did he get into a little tiff with Ben Shapiro?
The only one that I can recall is about God damn it, what is Rubin? Dave Rubin. Yeah. Going to Dave Rubin's wedding.
Okay, yeah. Well, that might have been it. But also, and then Steven Crowder, because I watch all those guys. I watched all those guys before Joe Rogan, you know, and then because I appreciated their opinions on certain things. But anyway, so I'm sitting there watching it, and I watched this clip, and it was basically Joe Rogan heated arguments with people. That boy, he is needy. Is that she?
I know it's a he, and he's not cooperating at all, dude.
But anyway, so I watched those heated arguments, and I was like, dude, Joe Rogan's a dick. And then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna watch the whole podcast, and I watched the whole podcast with him and Crowder, and it was actually a good podcast, and he was nice for most of the part until he got on the subject of pot, and then he turned into a fucking devil, and I was like, you're out of pot, aren't you, Joe?
That's where I found out about the bit where Crowder dressed up as Chank and went to his talk. He's like, Google it.
Google it.
And I'm sorry, that is funny.
I'm not going far. I can still hear you.
Oh, he just disappeared from the Cafe Olay. He's been replaced by a robot.
I'm tired of this. I'm tired of this cough. Maybe this will help.
It was funny. I was at the home show, and one of the booths across from us had like those Fireball Jawbreaker candies.
Really?
And some couple walked by, and the wife was like, she's like, honey, do you want a Fireball? And he like perked up real quick, and then like she gave him the candy, and then he kind of looked disappointed. I'm like, you thought it was another kind of Fireball, didn't you? And he's like, yeah, I was all excited.
Dude, Fireball candy is the shit.
Well, I know he thought it was the alcohol.
I know, fucking alcoholic. No, I'm just kidding.
But yeah.
Sorry.
Well, and then even like Jordan Peterson, which I'm trying to remember. I think Ben Shapiro was the first Joe Rogan podcast I watched in its entirety. But Jordan Peterson was a close second. But pretty much every time that Jordan Peterson's on the Joe Rogan podcast, it's not so much that they disagree, although they have disagreed on things. It's like Peterson has a tendency to, and this is a legitimate criticism of him, he has a tendency to go in a little deep on things, and they're kind of a stretch, and I'll be the first to admit it. But Joe's really good about being like, well, but is that true? Like, really? Like, universally, like you say it is? And usually they'll compromise in some way. because I will say if Peterson has a fault, it's the fact that sometimes he goes a little too deep and he makes some assumptions. And it's like, well, wait a minute, no, like for your point to be 100% correct, you would have to be 100% true on this, and that's just not. I don't see it. You know what I mean? And then he also has a really common tendency of like really, really going into an abstract sense of what something is, and it's like, I think you're reading a little too much into it there, bud.
Yeah, that's.
And I love the guy. I'm gonna go watch him speak in April, but like someone with a brain should do, like you don't
Peterson
take. Yeah.
Oh, geez.
He's gonna be at the Old National Center.
Oh, okay.
It's going to be a good time.
I like him. I really like Peterson, but for some reason, I don't know if it's just he's too passive.
You know what though? He'd be the first one to admit that.
And it kind of loses my attention. But like when I can focus, because ADHD, I can't sit still and whatnot. But when he talks and I focus, I'm like, dude, this guy's a fucking genius, And
yeah. Well, and shit. Try to read his book, because there are parts of his book where like I read a paragraph and I'm like, I'm done.
Oh.
Like it's a great book, but there are parts of it that are just, it's kind of it's arduous to get through sometimes.
That's a big word.
It's a good word.
Oh man.
Oh, and then Joe Rogan's had Bernie Sanders on. He's had Andrew Yang on. He had Tulsi Gabbard on, although she's not really a Democrat anymore.
She's so hot.
She's a dino.
She is a dino.
She is a dino.
Democrat in name only. Dino. Yeah. What was I thinking? Durno.
I don't know.
I don't either. Oh man. You got pressure. Tell you what.
What you're saying is you're under pressure.
Ding ding ding. I'm so sick of getting sick.
No shit.
And I know this one's not COVID. It's just the common.
Couldn't be. You got that natural immunity.
Well, on top of that, I actually remember I received Regeneron, and supposedly it gives you an up to 8 months protection or something like that. And I was like, sounds about as good as a vaccine, huh? Why don't they just give Regeneron out?
Imagine. Well, because I bet you it's cheaper.
They actually, I don't know who they is, and I would definitely need fact checked. I don't know if this is true or not, but
They are the corporations and the establishment living in that ivory tower.
But supposedly, monoclonal antibodies are. The FDA is taking away their status.
I don't know if they did that, but I remember.
I read they were going to, or
I was going to say I read that they were going to. I don't recall if they actually did or not, or I don't know if they actually did or not. But people, stop picking on Joe Rogan. He's just a guy trying to talk to people, and maybe instead of just automatically taking Neil Young's side or anyone else's side, maybe you should just watch an episode or listen to an episode. Pick one you want. Pick the one with Bernie. That was a good podcast. And it was actually one of the few times where I was able to sit down and listen to Bernie talk for 3 hours. And I'm like, still don't agree with him, but I mean, it's refreshing to hear what he believes in its entirety and not a soundbite.
It's like, how the hell does he believe in what he believes in? He's gone to these countries firsthand. Like, he really has. Like, out of all people, he has been in a lot of fucking different countries.
Well, but I'll be able to answer that actually is because they present a false image
to him.
Yeah, well, yeah, they do that.
There, exactly.
North Korea does it. Russia, the USSR did it all the time.
Oh, dude, the fucking girls who they weren't rescued, but they escaped North Korea, and they come in here and talking about how what it
Oh,
was
like all of them.
Yeah, and it was like
that's the other thing. There is literally like there's no disagreement. Not that I've heard. I've never heard anyone that got out of North Korea and was like, oh, you know what? It was fucking great.
Except not Denzel.
Dennis Rodman.
Dennis Rodman.
Well, right, but
is that real? Are they really friends? Dennis Rodman and Kim Jong-il?
I guess Kim Jong-un is a big basketball fan. And apparently they have some rules in North Korea that actually kind of make sense. I don't remember what they are, but I remember somebody was talking about it. I'm like, actually, that kind of makes sense. Oh, I think it's like the last shot is worth like double points or something. Like that's one of the rules for North Korean basketball.
Kim Jong-un was playing a game, and he's like, you know what?
I made the last shot. I win, motherfucker.
I need to win an extra point to win. Last shot gets 2. I don't even know if that's how it sounds like.
I don't know. I don't speak Korean, so I couldn't.
I don't either. I'll tell you what, though. The Koreans have been putting out some fucking damn good TV shows.
No shit.
Squid Games, fantastic. Fucking Hellbound was great.
I have not watched Hellbound yet.
There was another one. I haven't finished Hellbound. I'm only in
the
first season.
One of my favorite movies ever is a South Korean movie.
What is it?
It's called My Way.
My Way.
So I'll give you it's a really good movie. I highly recommend it.
Recent?
No. It's older. I think it's from 2010. But anyway, the premise, and this actually happened a lot. So after Japan in the 1930s basically conquered Korea, because this is before the split, in occupied Korea, it was not uncommon for Korean prisoners, and I mean, these people were arrested for nothing. One of the punishments was being forced conscripted into the Japanese Imperial Army. And this happened to one such character and his friends for reasons that I won't get into, just diatribe. But anyway, they end up forced conscripted into the Japanese army, and they fight in Manchuria, I believe, until they are captured by the Soviet Union, where they are then forced conscripted into the Soviet army, where they fight the Germans until they are captured by the Germans and forced conscripted into the Wehrmacht. And then they end up in Normandy on D-Day. And this is allegedly based on a true story because on D-Day, the Allies took several prisoners from the Ost Battalion of the German army, which was made up of, it means East Battalion, so like people from Russia, the Soviet Union, who either volunteered or were prisoners and forced to fight. It also had some Japanese soldiers in it who just ended up in the Soviet Union, basically. And they found this one guy, and when they first found him, they assumed he was Japanese because nobody spoke Korean, and he could speak Japanese too, so they just assumed. But then somebody who could speak Japanese came, and he's like, no, I'm Korean, and he told the whole story, and then they found out that there was just a ton of this forced conscription that was happening, and they were never able to verify it because he didn't have verifiable identification, but I guess they believed him because he immigrated to the U.S. and lived in Illinois until like 1983 or something.
And what's this movie called?
My Way. That's the English title. I don't know what the Korean title is. It's fantastic, though.
Is it dubbed?
There's a dubbed version, but I recommend. So here's one thing.
I don't mind dubbed versions of Korean stuff.
But here's why though, and this was the same. There was another movie where this is the case too. So there are multiple languages in this movie, and I will be honest. When you watch the dubbed version, it loses some of its luster because people in this movie speak Korean, they speak Japanese, they speak Russian, they speak German.
Okay.
Like, it adds to the story because you may not speak any of these languages, but it's fairly obvious.
You can feel it.
And it adds to the scene because, for example, there's a scene where there's a character, and I was going to say there's some Mandarin in it as well, because they end up meeting a Chinese sniper who gets taken prisoner, and she doesn't speak Korean or Japanese. So, but if you watch the dub, they're all speaking English, but there's a moment when like the Korean soldiers cannot understand her, and she clearly doesn't understand them. But in the English version, it's like, why don't you fucking understand? You're all speaking English.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
Why
like
would
it doesn't
they dub
come
it
across
like that?
Well,
they should have spoke the native language and then fucking subtitled it.
Well, that's what they do. And so if you watch the original version, you can watch it with subtitles.
Right.
But I don't know. It's just
that's silly.
And it loses some of it because let's be real, the dubbed actors are not as good as the originals, so the emotion doesn't really carry over.
Mm-hmm.
And it just, I don't know. I've always preferred, particularly with live action movies.
Waves and rocks.
Now, anime's a little bit different because you can. Yeah, but live action movies, I tend to not be able to watch the dubs because like nothing matches.
Yeah.
Hello.
I gotta take a shit. What?
Waves and rocks.
That is hands down.
That's so awesome.
Dude, I remember as a kid watching that. Just cracking up. Waves and rocks. Oh my gosh, man. Amazing.
Hercules great. I wish I were him.
So anyway, back to this old Joe Rogan guy.
Bo Rogan?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that took a turn, but just giving some praise to our friends in South Korea.
Joerogan, that's it.
Joerogan.
That's
so another. This does connect it, believe it or not. Another episode I would strongly urge all of you. Yeah, cohesion. It's stiff. It sticks. All of the lefties who may or may not ever watch this, I highly recommend you check out Joe Rogan podcast with Yeonmi Park, who is the North Korean, not I guess technically a refugee, but defector, I think is a more appropriate term.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, she'll tell you all about how great communism is.
Oh, she's the one who escaped?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. For us dumb people, that's what defector meant.
Yeah. Yeah, and she actually praised Squid Game for featuring a North Korean defector character in it and kind of shedding some light on the issues that North Koreans face when they end up in South Korea.
You know how she escaped?
Yes, I do.
No, waves and rocks. Just kidding.
No, the short answer is human trafficking. And yes, it's what you think.
She sold herself?
Well, not intentionally. She was told by some people that they could get them into China, but these people were human traffickers. And yes, she was actually, she and her mother were sold into slavery.
That's right. And her mom is still in China?
No, she's in the U.S. now.
Is she? Okay.
Yeah, but they were separated for 3 years.
God knows who's doing what.
Well, actually, I believe her mother got sold to a farmer because, and that shed some light because of the one-child policy in China, and nobody wanting girls, they now have a shortage of women.
Weird, huh?
It's a really simple numbers game, guys. If everyone wants boys and you can only have one kid,
50-50 chance.
It's like, what's that guy on TikTok who's always just like...
I saw something, or it was a Family Guy clip, and the joke was something about a you're literally being reborn right now, and you're being reborn into China, and then he comes back because he died again, and he's like, girl. I don't get that. Like, what do you? Did they kill the girls?
In some extreme cases, yes.
What the fuck?
It's no longer the policy. It was. Now it's not anymore. A lot of them were put up for adoption, international adoption.
What the fuck, dude?
Well, I mean,
they're gnarly.
Well, that's a prime example of an extremely short-sighted policy to solve an immediate problem, which was overpopulation. So what they were saying is it wasn't illegal to have a girl. It was basically, and like when I say illegal, what I mean is I think there were fines imposed. I don't think it was like
Planned Parenthood 2.0. Just kidding.
Well, I mean,
selling body parts.
Wow, Stoner Bros. I'm not even going to read that.
Uh-oh.
Wow. I mean, you're probably right, but wow.
I'm not reading that either. Holy
I'm not
shit.
reading that.
Prince Edward, huh?
God damn it.
Hey, no one knows what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah, valid point. Woo! Oh, I read Andrew. Wow. Well, now it's fucking obvious. Anyway. Oh, shit. But yeah, so like, where was I going with this? So yeah, the law was you were only allowed to legally have one kid. And now I don't think I could be wrong.
They actually no, you're right. They did rescind that because I do know about that. That's fucking funny.
Stoner Bros hashtag facts. that's fucking funny. Like in a really, really fucked up and morbid way, but
waves and rocks.
Waves and rocks.
Man.
So anyway, to help combat this problem, the Chinese Communist Party is kind of looking the other way when trafficking in women from other countries, specifically in the case we're talking about, North Korea. Because what they're supposed to do is if they find any North Korean refugees, exiles, defectors, whatnot, they're supposed to send them back to North Korea.
Right.
But they're looking the other way.
So,
yeah, so then they walked through the desert into Mongolia and fortunately got picked up and didn't get sent back to South Korea.
Bitches.
And then eventually ended up in North Korea. And then they eventually ended up in South Korea and then eventually immigrated to the United States.
I don't get it, man. Like, I don't understand.
Which part?
Why the world is just the way it is.
Which part of the world?
Every bit of it.
Well, I mean, there are different answers to different questions.
Fucked up. You know, it's just insane.
Just what I literally don't understand is how anyone in this country who knows anything at all about the history of the 20th century could possibly think that communism is a good idea. I don't understand it. Like there is no case for it to be made that is not 100% theoretical. And
why give an already failing government more control over your life?
Well, and it would be one thing if it hadn't been done yet. Like I've said this in the episode I did with Cody on Cuba. It's like I totally get at the turn of the 20th century when nobody had done it yet, and it's this great new theory that was like, yeah, you know what? Like the workers should own everything, blah, da, 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 and this, that, and the other. And yeah, there is the bourgeoisie are corrupt because they were, but you know,
I mean,
but now
if it's like
we've done it, and the only thing we can say for sure about that communism is really good at is killing people.
Right. I mean, if everything worked out like Publix,
like the store,
yeah, Publix is a worker owned. Well,
I did not know that.
It's not worker owned. It's completely like I don't know how to explain it properly. You're gonna have to look that up eventually, but it's like I don't know what it is about it. It's completely shared. Like it's not like, you know, a worker can just go in there and work as a cashier and then all of a sudden they just have access to, you know,
no, it is an employee owned supermarket chain.
Okay. Yeah, there you go.
Huh, I did not know that. I've always liked Publix.
I do, but like, man, when I'm down in Florida, that shit's expensive.
They're premium.
I do like it though. Better quality, especially when it comes to meat.
Yeah. I'm just kind of like I'm just browsing.
Waves and rocks. Man.
Waves and rocks. They were sued for sex discrimination and job assignments in 1995.
That was 95. Holy shit.
Okay, but I mean, so here's the thing. I've never had a problem with worker-owned companies because that's a choice. Like, you can enter that willingly. Like, and it's great. I love the idea behind it, but the whole trick is for it to be consensual.
Yes.
No means no.
Yes. A thousand no's and a yes is a yes. Oh, man. Oh,
With
yeah.
the help of LSD, there's no limit to what we can imagine.
We're back at the Jack Off Hour. This is DJ Easy Dick. Some pleasure for your ears.
Let's see who gets this one. It's time for the Wolf Man Jack. And everybody's like, "What the fuck?"
What is that?
It's called American Graffiti People. It's a fantastic movie. You should go watch it.
I have not seen that.
It's the movie that Happy Days was technically based on.
Sunday, Monday, happy days. A stoner bro said, "Unless you're a prince." I'm not really. I think it was delayed.
Yeah, I think so too. Please don't clarify.
No, do.
No, don't.
Oh shit, man.
All I'm saying is he said there was going to be weed on that plane, and I got on that plane. He said, "Bill, you want your weed?" And I said, "Hell yeah, man." He said, "Put this dress on." So I put it on. And he said, "Sit in that chair, cross your legs, bitch."
They do that to all high-powered, high-profiled individuals. You know.
Oh yeah.
I keep wanting to say Denzel. Dennis Rodman took it a little further when he finally got his acceptance into the Illuminati. This is the kind of thing that Eddie Bravo would say, and Joe Rogan would be like, he's like, "Dude, you can't just say shit like it's facts." Do you not remember Dennis Rodman in the early '90s wearing all the dresses and shit like that? He took it
you know
far.
what? Yeah.
He took it really far, and he got married in a dress.
Well, the worm
to a woman at least, so you know. Good.
The worm is a strange individual.
Tell you what, though, best rebounder ever. He would kill himself to fucking make sure a ball did not go out or pass it off.
Maybe he just had one too many concussions.
Thank you. The hell.
We haven't really defended Joe Rogan that much.
Free advertising.
Oh, there you go.
Don't worry, I will definitely plug it once things go.
That's it. We actually we'll talk about this off air, but that will make 2 sponsors.
There we go.
Yep. Moving on up, we're almost to $2, and we got 2 sponsors.
Moving on up.
That's bottoms up, my friend.
My throat doesn't hurt anymore. That's a good thing.
Oh, yep.
Are you
I
tired?
apologize. Yeah, I was just gonna say I apologize to the audience. I'm not 100%
I was
there.
I was gung ho for the first 25 minutes until
literally we
were on fire for 18 minutes.
That's another one. Like it's like the episode that we never recorded and we did a tribute to.
Oh man.
Like goddamn, that was flawless.
Dude, the first 18 minutes of this podcast that will never be heard, it was good. It was insane.
This is just a poor imitation, a tribute, if you will.
Oh, jeez. I'm spent.
Yeah.
I'm ready to go to bed. I know you're probably tired too.
You and me both, sir. You and me both. I say we just cut our losses on this one, and if Neil Young keeps talking, we'll do another episode.
Which actually, I was gonna suggest to you if we can do this throughout the week if
to be safe.
If something comes up like crazy and we need to get it out before Sunday. You know.
Oh yeah, we can do a special episode.
Yeah. So.
Well, and speaking of which, we might do this on Sunday too, because Ben is like keeps asking me when we're going to do our TMNT thing. So I'm like,
Soon. TMNT.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Heroes in a Half Shell, Turtle Power.
Podcast? Hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on. I am going to stop immersive view. Hi. No. See what? Why is it? Go to me.
It is on you.
Okay. Now.
Well, now it's on me. But if you keep talking, it'll go back to you.
I don't want a video filter. None. How do I get out of video filters?
No.
Virtual background. Okay, so I did something, and I have set up completely some older TVs, and what I was going to suggest, because we have a wonderful belt that needs to be.
Yes, we do, and I'm not blaming Ben for this, but challengers have been falling through.
Don't make me look ugly.
That's impossible.
Get him. But anyway, so yeah, I had to show off the mining rigs.
You gotta tell the people the random ass text message you got late at night the other night that I sent you.
What?
Okay,
hold on. I can't remember it.
The video. He just randomly gets a text
alert.
Yeah. Randomly gets a text alert on his phone, and it's just Randy Seven. Bonesaw is ready.
Dude, you know I'm somewhat of a scientist myself. Dude, you know what's funny is when I watched that again for the second time in 3D, which was trash. But anyway, no one laughed when Willem Dafoe said, "You know what? I'm somewhat of a scientist myself." When we watched it, the entire freaking theater erupted.
Well, to be fair, everybody had already seen it 6 times by then. Yeah. By the time you saw it again.
I don't care though. I saw it. I still laughed again. It was so funny. We need to go watch it again.
We do. It'll be in theaters for a year.
You know it hit, or it actually took back its opening or something like that from Scream. Everybody's like, "Oh, Scream beat it," and I was like, "No, fuck Scream." Actually, I haven't seen it yet. I can't really say that or not. All right, dude. I am going to let you roll us out. I'm going to exit full screen.
If you're enjoying this episode of the Average Intelligence Podcast, as always, you can check us out on the live stream almost every Sunday on YouTube. If you miss the live stream, you can check it out anytime on YouTube, or if you prefer only the sweet, succulent sounds of our voice, you can check us out on Anchor.fm, Spotify, Amazon Music, Radio Now, Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. I think that's it, because we're still on Spotify because Neil Young doesn't know we exist.
He says anything, I'm going to sing to him. Old man, look at my life. I'm like you were. That's a great song, by the way. I do not appreciate his opinion, his political opinion, but I love that song.
Music's pretty solid.
It is pretty solid.
But if Neil Young wants to flag us for misinformation, I'll just be like, take off, you hoser.
And listen, at the end of this, we need to start doing disclaimers. Anything that is portrayed in this episode is not entirely factual and can be fact checked.
It is 100% fictional, and any similarities to persons living or dead is purely coincidental.
Yes. So the aliens are on the moon, and there is a firmament. Oh, look at my life. I'm a lot like you were.
Neil Young is a robot.